The second comma rule that you must know for the ACT is using commas with two or more coordinate adjectives. So coordinate adjectives are just adjectives which describe the same noun. So, for example, in this sentence we have the young, energetic boy sang loudly. The words young and energetic are both adjectives describing the boy. In other words, they are coordinate adjectives. So we need to use a comma when we are using two or more of these kinds of adjectives. The very simple way of checking whether or not this comma is used correctly is to replace the comma with the word and between and see if it makes sense. So in this case, it would be the young and energetic boy sang loudly. Because that makes sense, we know that the comma is used correctly. So let's take a look at the other example. It says Jenny likes to wear green wool sweaters. In this case, we don't have a comma in between these two words. Okay, so we're going to check to see whether or not there should be a comma here. Okay, so Jenny likes to wear green and wool sweaters. Since that doesn't make sense, we know that there should not be a comma in between these two words. Okay, let's take a look at another example, something longer that looks more similar to what you might find on the test. So here we have, then she played the same tune, but with such a pure, sad emotion that the entire class sat in silence when she'd finished. Okay, so when I see some commas separating adjectives, right away I'm going to try to determine whether or not that comma is used correctly. So in this case, I see the words pure and sad, and they are both describing the word emotion. So I know that these are coordinate adjectives for the noun emotion. Okay, so I want to check to see whether or not this comma should be in between these two words. So I'm just going to read the whole sentence, but I'm going to replace the comma with the word and. So then we would have, then she played the same tune, but with such a pure and sad emotion that the entire class sat in silence when she'd finished. Since it makes sense to say pure and sad emotion, I know that the comma should be in between these two words. So what I'm going to do is go through the four options and eliminate the ones that do not have this comma. So in A, we do have this comma, so we can leave that for now. And then in B, we also have the comma in between, but we don't have that comma in between the two words in C and D. So right away, I'm going to eliminate those two options. That leaves me with just A and B. So you should ask yourself, what is the difference between the two, and then compare those two answers. So what I notice about option A is that there is a comma after the word that, but we don't have that in option B. So focus on just this one difference and decide whether or not it is necessary. Usually when we're using the word that, we're trying to connect two parts of the sentence. So it's usually like something, that, something. But we don't usually put a comma after this word because they're both connected together. Since it's not necessary to have this comma, we can eliminate option A and then go with a simpler answer, which is option B.